All right, and 3, 2, 1.
I just caught a vibe with you, baby. Can't wait till I'm inside of you, baby. Waking up inside of you, baby. I just caught a vibe with you, babe. Can't wait till I'm inside of you, babe.
Welcome back, Powerheads. Here we are again with another episode of the PowerWatch FORCE Ep7. Somebody's favorite number out there. Whose is it?
You already know. Greatest number alive.
No, the second greatest number. So moving on, we start off this episode with your girl looking fierce in those heels. And she's walking up and down the street. She's headed to a destination, a club. You know, you got the bumping beats coming out of the club and whatnot, high-priced DJs and all that stuff. She goes rolling up in there, and there's a big Latin dude who looks like he's running stuff and sitting there in a chair. He dismisses the chick he's with, and she sits down with him, and he's like, "Diga me, mommy." So talk to me, mommy. So what does she have to say to him?
The same thing that Shorty had to say to Tommy. She gave him that kiss, and it was a wrap.
Bam! So he's like, I'm in full haul. So then she rolls out of there, and we go to another club. And some stuff is popping off there too, isn't it? One of the females comes in, and she sits down with his date and another chick, and she sits in between them, and she puts something on her lips, and she starts kissing both of them. They start freaking out, and then another girl comes out, and she hits the dance floor, and she starts like kissing everybody on the dance floor, and they're all freaking out. So something's going on. There's some type of connection here. What's up?
Oh, because your boy Tommy was like, look, we need to create the hype before the product actually comes out. So we got to create a market for the product before it ever hits actual streets.
Right. And he was schooling Claudia on that. He's like, this ain't no GED. This is a master's course, so you better be taking notes. He's like, we create the need, we can create the demand, and then we drop it, but we're not going to drop it like we were going to drop it before. We're going to drop it where it's going to be affordable, not low rent, because she's like on the bougie tip. She wants it to be all, elite and all that. He's like kind of middle income housing. So she's like, wait a minute, this is going to be elite. He said, yeah, but for a small group of people. But suppose we got everybody.
That's the supply, demand, cost versus, pure numbers. Like that's that thing that everybody has to go through. That's why certain car manufacturers, they can produce cars for less, but they're like, no, we're going to keep our prices high and just produce less cars. Tommy wants to be GM, right? Like a really good car. It's a good car, but it's not, it's not your super luxury. You know what I mean? He wants to sell a bunch of them. And she wants to be, Bentley and Rolls Royce and all that. And he's like, nah, it's hard to make money that way. And he's right.
So he's got to go wide scale with it and get everybody just wanting it. So meanwhile, we switch over to the barbershop. And we get introduced to a new character who's not really a new character if you really like a lot of good black television. He's an old character. And in here, he's Blackston.
Orton Fitzpatrick.
He's from another show, and he used to be on the show The Chi until he disappeared under mysterious circumstances. He had a pretty good, thorough character, man. Had a lot of action with that. Him and Trig are Jake's older brothers and whatnot in the whole mix-up in The Chi. So I like how they kind of dropped a little connection in there. He's talking about, I wasn't sure I was ever coming back to The Chi. And I was like, I like that. Give a nod to the old series. So that was pretty fast.
No, they threw that in there. A little subtle drop.
Then what's the name? They're sitting up in there, and who comes through? The dynamic duo. You got D-Back and Marshall.
And they come through with their little cockamamie, harebrained schemes. Diamond wasn't feeling it at all.
But they was spitting something, and they allowed to get their pitch in because your boy Jannard said, okay, Shark Tank. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty tight. So they go ahead and they put their pitch in, and they don't really know even how to sell this. But Jannard is already picking up on it. He's like Gary is gateway to all these different cities, Memphis, all these different places. It's like, the conduit. So he's liking what he's hearing. And of course, Diamond is just like, I want to play it low and all this stuff. So, Diamond rolls out and saying just the last word, CBI ain't going to be involved with it. But Jannard has other ideas, don't he?
He does. Jannard wants to be involved in it by himself. And he was smart in that he sent a homeboy to go find Tommy by saying, you know what? I need you to go find him for me because you failed the last thing I told you to do and I paid you to do. I need you to go find Tommy. Meanwhile, he's going up and meeting with his partner, taking him to the strip club, and they're going out and partying because he knows that that's the real connect he needs to look out for.
Marshall, this D-Mac and whatnot, he just didn't tell him about what's going on. And we'll get to that in a minute and we'll figure out what his motivation was behind that. Meanwhile, your boy D-Mac gets out in the street and he was running up on Tommy. Always a wise move in everyone's book.
That almost didn't end well for him.
Yeah, so Tommy's like, and then so he's like, look, man, I'm just here to warn you. You know, you gotta stay on point. You gotta keep your gun on you at all times because people looking for you. And he's like, who put you up to this Diamond, Jannard? And he's like, I can't tell you, man. I can't tell you, but I'm just warning you. He said, all right, good looking out. Now get the fuck out of here. He shift over real quick to Flynn's crib. And he's looking at these brochures about lung cancer. And so we now know exactly what's going on with this mother. But we kind of suspected it anyway. It was either going to be lung cancer because he's smoking all the time, or it was going to be throat cancer of some type, or a combination of the two.
Pretty much.
Now we know it's lung cancer, and then he balls it up and throws it in the fire because he doesn't want to look weak. But if you look dead, then you're not really looking strong either.
But I think the biggest thing, though, is that, you know, he doesn't want to look weak. At the same time, I think he's a little bit too far gone. And I think he also knows that the Serbs are going to retaliate for what happened. And if he dies at the hand of the Serbs and Vic takes over the business, he'll never will have looked weak. It will look like I did what I had to do.
Meanwhile, your boy is like, you know, he's trying to pitch it to the doc. The doc is a little resistant, but she's eventually knowing who's really running things and whatnot. Your boy, Vic, he gets ghosted. Not in the ghost that we know, but in a ghost bad way. He wakes up and your girl Gloria is just like, I'm out. And he's just crushed. He's trying to call her all the time. And, you know, he disappears for a minute. He goes talk to his dad and he's like, you know, every argument that we ever got in, you know, I was always picking your side. He's like, that's family. And he was like, you may be my blood, but Gloria's my home. And I was like, oh, that's deep.
Do we really believe that she just got sick of it and left? Because Vic had been on a solidly strong path of making her know that she was here to stay and that it was kind of, you know, fuck his father if that was the way it was going to go down. I don't think she just left on her own.
Well, let's think about it this way. Maybe that was before she was dodging bullets like the Matrix. You know, that's a little scary.
But when she was dodging bullets like the Matrix, she ended up being the shooter.
Yeah.
Okay. And Vic was scared. Vic was scared, and she wasn't.
That just means she's down for the shortcome, you know, the reaction. But that doesn't mean she's down for the long range planning and all that crap. She ain't used to living in that world. She can fight back, but she's not used to the long range. So then your boy, more comedy. Your boy Tommy's trying to apologize to JP on the boardwalk. He's massively quoting Dr. Phil. This is kind of against Dr. Phil. You know what I mean? He's just like, look, man, what are you trying to say? And it's just so funny. He's trying to word it. He's like, go on, it's just 2 words. And he's like, fuck you, JP. And he's like, exactly, your apology is accepted. And then JP brings up the fact that Miriam is in a bad way. It's either some type of stroke or hemorrhage or some kind of subacute, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like she's in a bad way. He's like, we need to call Kate. And then this is another deep conversation, man, because Tommy goes ballistic and he was like, man, she lied to me about everything. She lied to me about having a brother. She lied to me about Miriam because she said that she died 15 years ago. And then so your boy JP is like, look, that's what family's for. Family's for forgiveness. And, you know, look at me, you know, as soon as the cord was cut, she was out. And I was like, damn. And so Tommy comes back and he's like, what'd she do to you that was so bad? And he's like, she chose to love a ghost instead of me. Now, if you think back, remember when she said it should have been you that was killed instead of Ghost. And I was like, oh, she's so messed up. She is horrible.
No, she's a terrible mother. So, I mean, I don't blame him for being like, screw her and not want to deal with her no more.
You notice anything else in this episode about what JP has, or maybe not JP, maybe JP's dad has named the restaurant?
I did not notice the name of the restaurant.
Because when they're hanging out, he said, JP's wondering why they're hanging out. He said, we could have just grabbed a couple of bottles at Miriam's. So I don't think he was talking about Miriam's house. I don't think he was talking about Miriam's nursing home.
Name of the club.
Unless it was some bottles of tapioca. I don't think you want to be getting that in the nursing home.
Tapioca, the original bubble drink. Sorry, Koreans.
Yeah, so that's probably what his dad named it after the mom and whatnot. Surprise, surprise, he didn't name it Kate. Who knew?
Shocker.
Meanwhile, your boy Glenn is up there. He's trying to run things again. He's sitting there with Claudia. He's sitting there with Vic. He's smoking a ton of cigarettes. He's got like 50 cigarettes in the ashtray. And I'm like, man, you on a slow boat to China? No, you on a rocket ship to hell. And she's like, we're going to have to put some people on you. And she's like, no. And then, so she's like, I don't want nobody in my business. And then, so he's like, how are you going to protect yourself? Give me a gun. And then he says, you wouldn't know what to do with this. And I'm like, wait a minute. She's already stabbed somebody and killed him from behind. She poked your boy Reggie in the eye and then popped his other eye out. So she's a killer. It's official now. You got to count.
I think she's a killer out of necessity. I don't think she's a cold-blooded, like, assassin. I can walk up to somebody. Like Tommy could walk up to somebody on the street and put a bullet in their head. Her, like, in both situations, she killed them out of necessity. And the one, she's like, oh, I'm going to go to your father and tell him what's going on because obviously you can't handle the situation anymore. So she's like, I can't let my father find out about this because then he's going to kill me. So she killed her. And then in the other situation, he was trying to choke her to death. And she just kind of killed him on the back end. So, I mean, obviously she can kill people, but I think it's more so like it's been off a defensive, not ever off of like a...
But the thing about it, he has no clue that she can even kill somebody in defense.
True.
You just a girl in a skirt. You... So she's like, no.
I've always loved his character since Sons of Anarchy, so he's always been one of my favorite actors. He always kind of plays the same kind of guy, but he's ever since Sons of Anarchy, he's always been my top list.
Oh, he's a beast, man, and that's those Scar's characteristic and whatnot. My man Zulu, did you ever meet Zulu?
No.
Oh man, Zulu's a legend from New York. He had a scar like that too. Man, great guys. So. Meanwhile, they're sitting up in the apartment, Claudia's apartment. It's Lily and Claudia, and they're talking. And your girl Claudia's like, "Did you fuck him?" It's like she was worried that she did or whatnot. And I was like, "Okay, are you worried?" Because up until this point, we saw a little bit of your lesbian affair, but she seems to really dig Tommy. I think maybe she had her little fling with mine, but for the most part, she could go either way.
I don't know if she's digging Tommy because she's genuinely attracted to Tommy, or she's genuinely attracted to a male in a dominant position. I mean, because if you think about it, all the men that are in her life are in dominant positions and have been telling her what to do. So she's kind of just used to that. So seeing somebody who comes in, dominates the situation, I don't know. I mean, but who knows? We'll see.
She seemed a little worried when she asked her that. But next thing you know, before anybody can answer, Lily was never going to answer. She's going to make her squirm. The couriers come in, and now we see the connection. Okay, these girls were already working for them. And so they went ahead and they start schooling them on what to watch out for. And this is what you need to do. And this is what you need to keep your agenda on. If you go on the mark, you stay on that mark. Don't be just circulating throughout the club. We're going to tell you where to go, who to see, and all this. And then she passes out the cards, the business cards. And she tells them, so she passes out the business cards. And she says, if you get in trouble, you don't call me. You don't call anybody else. You call this number. And you ask for Kippelman, and then you just wait till he shows up. But then she pulls aside one of the chicks, the blonde. She's like, yo, you know that redhead that you know, Sophie? I want you to go ahead and have her Vic is gonna be Vic. So guess who owes her ears though? Whose ears are everywhere?
Who's everywhere? I'm gonna call her Scarface from now on.
Don't do that. That's demeaning. They're going ahead, and it seems like, you know what's wild is I can't for the life of me tell whether or not they're all in the same club. Are they in two different clubs? Because the place where Marshall and Blackston and Jannard are in, is it the same club that the girls are in doing their thing? Or is it different sections or what? Because if it was the same club, you know, that's kind of like risky. Because so much stuff.
No, I think it was meant to be multiple different clubs all over the city of Chicago. You know, maybe they made a little, some powerisms, didn't shoot in multiple different cities, but I think it was meant to be they're all going to separate places. You all have your assignments, and here are the places where you're going.
That's cool. So yeah, they're all spread out and whatnot. Tommy's schooling the doc again. He's like, what's the most expensive aspect? Because we want to remove it. And she's like, it's the 3 characteristic ingredients that come together to make the color change. And you know what that means to me? You were thinking about selling this drug wholesale for quite a while. You even have some advertising around.
Tommy's like, fuck that. Let that go.
Yeah, remove it.
That's the most expensive part. A gimmick. He was like, gimmicks come and go.
And it's the fingerprint.
Exactly.
So make it easier for them to find you. The doc is trying to get her way out of stuff, and she's trying to get a little bit of freedom. This time he's got her locked in there like a prisoner. And so she's like, they were missing me at my job. And then Lillian goes full white girl. She calls the number and she's like, hello, Richard. The doc won't be making it in today. She has some medical issues. Oh, what do you mean? Well, don't be silly, Richard. You know I can't violate HIPAA policy. I was like, that's real. You know what I mean? Because
very real. Very real.
Yeah, because that's like a lawsuit. Then she's like, look, I got to get out of here. And she's like, why? She's like, I got a date and I really like him. And it's the 3rd date. She's like, oh, Doc, you're going to fuck him. So Lillian starts to be like, maybe we need to give this chick a little bit of slack. You know what I mean? Because if we just work it to the bone, she might just get worked to the bone and not get to the bone. Everybody needs a little bone sometime. It's the magic medicine. All right, so they're like, okay, you can go on this date, but you got to go with Liliana. So Liliana crabs the whole thing up. But she kind of makes sure that she's in the mix and drinking wine and champagne and whatnot over the waterfront. And she's like, this is mad romantic as fuck. And so she's doing her thing just to make sure she's just enough annoying that the fact that the doc is stuck with her is not going to totally turn off this dude. They're playing them pretty well. Well, she is playing them pretty well. She actually switched up her outfit in order to get the doc in it. And Tommy's like, how do you girls do that? You change and then it still fits you. She's like, with my chicken. That laugh is killing me. So then we move forward to another club and we go to the one club where Vic is at. So Tommy already has the scoop on, what's going on there. Because basically Liliana just went ahead to the blonde girl and was like, okay, where's Sophie gonna be at? So Tommy's up in there, he rolls up in there with JP, and JP's still pushing the angle about the clubs and all that stuff. And then Tommy's like, fuck. And he goes and sees Sophie putting the lips on Vic, and Vic bugging, because up until that point, Vic was like that old song by Gil Scott-Heron, living in a bottle. That joint was huge and it was completely empty. And he was still trying to turn it up.
I say one thing I got to say though, I don't know if you caught it or not, but JP was talking about, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. Club is an easy way for us, run some money through it. And Tommy looked at me and said, man, I've been there, done that. Like because that's obviously what him and Coast have been doing. He's like, yeah, come on, man, I've already done that one.
Tommy is basically, he finds some goons outside who were basically the goons that were hired to go ahead and watch after Claudia. He pops 2 in their skulls. And then he rolls upstairs. He goes up there and he's like mad. He's yelling, screaming at Claudia. He's like, you trying to get your people involved. You trying to get your family involved. She's like, no, I wasn't letting him know it wasn't coming from me. It was just trying to send a message about the drug so that he want to buy too. And then she's like, what about those goons outside? She's like, my father did that.
And they're back to the woods. Back to the grill again. Just like MC Search featuring Nas from that fire cut back in the day.
They had to go dig up some more stuff.
Coming back to what I was saying about, I don't think Gloria left on her own. The fact that someone was specifically sent to Vic as like one, show him this product, 2, these weren't just saleswomen, okay? These were a little bit beyond saleswomen, as we saw what was going on with the woman that was with Jannar. So they weren't just saleswomen. I don't know. There's like a bit of ambiguity, in my opinion, over that.
We're gonna have to like put our heads together on that and try to figure that one out. Yep. So now we're back over to the other club. And in the other club, is that Remy that's in that silver bottle that they seem to be trying to enjoy, and Marshall like get ready to throw up? And then Marshall posted up, which is not going to be in his best interest. He's posting up what they're doing. And of course, Blackston shuts him down. He's like, what are you, little guap or something? It's like, what kind of school of gangster you come from? When you posting on social media, then so he shuts that down. Marshall tries to crack on this young lady, and he's like, hey, what's up with the onion? And then she's like, onion? And he hits her with a super old school line, which I swear to God is 60 to 70 years old. Cause you making me cry when I look at it. Then she's like, oh, that's cute. And she's like, this is Jannar, and says, I like his line better. And then Blackston goes, round one. The chick with the braids comes up. She's putting it on Jannar. She gives him a little kiss in, and they're all sitting outside. Your boy's got the bottle of Remy outside. And first of all, I'm looking at this like this. This dude's really 21. And I don't think they are. I think they're like 7.
I don't think so either. Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, D-Mac rolls up on him and busts him in the head from behind, drops him. And then your boy scrambles back to his feet, but pulls a gun on him. And he says, the reason I cut you out is because you saw. He's like, what are you talking about? You wouldn't go ahead and rob that jazz club. But he really has no idea what's going on with that. So he just cuts his boy out without even knowing the full story. So that's kind of shiesty.
But also it's like this, man. Either your right cross ain't that strong, because I knock him to the ground, but he just get right back up like nothing ever happened.
Now remember, he didn't throw though. He just pulled a gun. That's easy to do. And maybe he just wanted to catch his attention.
No, I think it gives credence to the fact that you were talking about how young they are. I mean, he a little light in the pants, so it wasn't much behind that punch.
Battle of the featherweights. Stop!
But they don't weigh nothing, so they fall down.
Mosquitoes getting big this time of year. Yeah, so man, they doing that thing outside there, and they're like, okay, man, let's get out of here and whatnot. Meanwhile, dude has pulled out a gun, and Marshall has, and he got him to put it away. But there's literally a big ass bodyguard right down the street, looking at what they're doing, seeing the gun. Most of them are off-duty cops, and he doesn't do anything. I was like, this must be a powerism out this joint. So basically what happens is
Adrian Bones Diamond in the barber's chair.
But then she skips off to, the little fast food restaurant and meets this lady who's, I guess, her chief reporter. And the reporter lady's like, no, we're switching the story up. It's no longer about the inner tribes of Chicago like you wanted to do. It's about Diamond. And then so she's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not what this is supposed to be about. But she's like, okay, I can give it to the other reporter. And then she's like, never mind, it's about Diamond too. So now she's been switched.
I think it's more so she said what she had to say to keep herself on it at that point. I don't think that she's ever going to give them anything that's going to incriminate Diamond. I think she's, beginning to catch feelings for Diamond. And but she knew if she was off of it, it was gonna be hard for her to control the story at that point.
Oh, girl, like pretty much bones the hell out of Jannar in the car and gives him another couple of hits of that. And then so she leaves a little vial with him. She says she doesn't know where it came from, but she leaves a little vial with him. So he goes and takes it to the barbershop, and he's like, man, are you getting all scared now and you're getting a little bit of something? So they must have picked up the fact that Adrian boned him in the barbershop. And then so he's like, because look, man, pussy comes and goes, but this changes everything. And he drops it off with Diamond. He's like, it's the cleanest hit I've ever had. There's nothing like that out there. We can run the city. And then your boy gets a little intrigued. So he goes up into Slick Eddie's with Tommy, who keeps forgetting. He tries to order some coffee, gets dissed by Rick again. Just to get to Rick this. At least order the cookies, man. What's wrong with you? So Diamond brings out the vial of Dahlia. And he's like, you know anything about this? And he's like, well, what you want to be involved with some designer drug for? And he's like, why don't you just stick to the classics? And he's like, this might rewrite history. I got a feeling. So he's got a customer is what he has.
I was gonna say, I think that was Diamond's way of telling him, I know it's you, because this is different than anything that's ever come to this city. And you're the only thing different that's ever come to this city. So,
well, we're gonna differ on that one because I don't think he has no clue. He just wants to try to get information out of Tommy. Okay, so then we end up we're at Gary. So we're at Gary, Indiana, and Cousin Buddy's over there. And Cousin Buddy's got these weird little physical manifestations and whatnot and mannerisms. They're like talking back and forth. He's like, man, you might as well just get out of here if you're just gonna talk stuff. And then your boy says, can you see the future? I mean, in your good eye. So he's just dissing him because he's got a lazy eye and whatnot, some strip business is like we call it in the business. And he's like, they're about to rumble and whatnot. And then Jannard is like, you know what? I like you. He said, because I like you, I'm gonna give you the price of admission. And he pulls out a brick. Now, of course, this is not Dahlia yet. They don't know nothing about that here. They're just trying to move some coke.
he knows that Dahlia is coming.
Oh, yeah. Jannard does, but I don't know.
Yeah, Jannard knows. Yeah.
Boy, Buddy is like, welcome to Indiana. So welcome to Gary. So, yeah, so then from there, Tommy comes back to the lab and he's rolling in there. And they were like huddled up in the corner and he turned around with smiles on their faces. And Tommy looks like he just had a baby boy. He's like, did you do it? Did you do it? Document scientist. And then so next thing you know, she's like, yup. And you can't be messed with. It will take 4 MIT scientists just to try to figure it out. And they're still not going to be able to do it. He's like, Doc, you can go home tonight. And then she's like, don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow. And she tries to roll out. And Tommy's like, Doc, you sure you don't want to go ahead and celebrate with us a little bit and figure out, how it hits you? And she's like, I do. And then your boy hits the classic hip hop line from the clubs. He goes, put the needle on the record. So, they all shoot off like rockets. Now we got coming attractions. Your boy is rolling up, Tommy's rolling up a Mrs. Soto. He's like 55 a brick. And she's like, how do you know, how are we supposed to know it's worth it? And your boy Tommy hits back with, cause I don't move no trash. Then Flynn wants to shut Claudia down. And Claudia is getting wind of it. And she tells Tommy, and Tommy's like, you gotta protect what's your own. And then Tommy to Vic, you and Gloria got to go. So apparently Gloria got back in the picture. All right, so we finally got some good coming attractions. Can you believe it?
Either Gloria is back in the picture or Tommy doesn't know that Gloria is gone. And so he's telling Vic, you and Gloria gotta go.
That may be it, yeah. But here we go. That's it, we're almost out of time. Adding some seconds in the second. And that means for myself, Warhog, your boy E-Dot, your boy The Vizza, we out. We see you next week. Thanks, fellas. Love you.
Yeah, likewise. Take care, guys.
Peace. So meanwhile, we switch over to the barbershop and we get introduced to a new character. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Did you just do that? Clink. Vizza?
All I got are plastic, so clink.
Fuck it. We'll re-edit. We put it right here. All right. So we put it just before, we'll say, Dylan, you with us? Vizza. Come in, Vizza.
Vizzy to Warthog, what's up?
Okay, so basically we're gonna put it in right after Jannard gives Diamond the vial of Delilah. Oh boy.
Delilah.
Yes, Delilah.
Right on.
Right. It's Delilah.
All right, so we're gonna put it there and it's like, yo.
No,
so
it's Dahlia. It's Dahlia.
Dahlia. There you go. We're all messed up. Clink. So